Hey, welcome to my channel. So it's become a trend in my life. It's a pattern at this point. I just disappear for like a few months, if not more, and then go back and say the same thing. But I think I've cracked the code for my own self. So, like, just jumping into it because I don't know how to just, pave the way for this. But, so at some point I was making at least like a chapter weekly. I was not overworking myself. And in my manga and my comic, for anyone who doesn't know the drill, you can find the link in like the bio and in my Instagram and everything. Links are in the description. But anyways, so I was making like a chapter every week, every 1 to 2 weeks. Consistently, I had buffer chapters, I had plans, and a whole lot of things. I was not driven by motivation. My mental state was not at all better. So I can't use that as an excuse. Also, I was like finding improvement, and I was seeing it very clearly. And it was not like quantity over quality. It was like kind of both at the same time, and it was improvement that is noticeable for me and for everybody else that was seeing it. So yeah, it was not even confirmation bias. So what's the deal, right? I couldn't even, at some point afterwards, like when I got into this creative slumber, I couldn't even consume any content, like not even comfort shows or stuff like that. I couldn't even talk to people in like the same way. I couldn't enjoy conversations as much, and nor did I want an alone time, but there was like this thing in the middle that I felt like it was annoying and I couldn't like pinpoint it. I couldn't put my finger on it. It didn't work. I didn't understand like what was pissing me off, or not pissing me off, but more of like there's a missing ingredient that I was able, like because of I was able to do that back then, and now I can't. Again, I can't pinpoint it. So I tried a little bit better this time to do like a reverse engineering thing and figure out what it was. I messed up a lot, but I started to kind of grasp it recently, and by recently I mean like 2 months ago, and only acted on it like this month, so it's kind of embarrassing, but come on now, it's better than nothing. It's better than going forever. At least that's what I'm telling myself. But it's true though, it's better than going forever. Apparently it was also, sorry for like the noises in the background, I don't know if it's picking it up or not, but apparently the missing piece was I was letting myself fail faster. And from failing faster, I would learn faster. Hence why the improvement showed up so much afterwards. Like, let's say, for example, in chapter 5 in Girly, the manga, there was, at least in my perspective, there was a lot of improvement that I had seen, especially with the lighting situation in like the page 4 and 5, or 5 and 6. I don't remember, but 5 was definitely one of them. Which is like the lighting situation, I was experimenting so much with it. And although I really, really hated it in one page, I really liked it in the other one. Because, again, I let myself fail faster to just get it over with and understand why I hated this. And, move on and actually get it better instead of sticking to like one page. And funny enough, one of the things that I was like so annoyed by when I was like watching content from other creators was the way that they would like keep on redrawing previous chapters, or keep on being stuck on like one chapter and not like change anything and not create anything new. Again, keep on redrawing and stuff. And I was like, you're never gonna finish your story that way. Like even the ones that draw 1 page every month, or upload 1 page every month, are most likely guaranteed to finish way more of their story and like get to further points than the ones that just keep on redrawing and never just accepting the end result. And I found myself falling in that trap, but instead of redrawing, I just let it go altogether. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna practice and I'm gonna go back. And I never went back. And I never practiced. Like maybe I did in like the first month or so. I made like a draft of 2 chapters maybe. And then I was like, nah, I don't like that. I want to practice this and that. I want to study this and that. And I kind of didn't. And when I did, I still didn't feel like applying it. And now that I'm looking at it and a couple months ago also when I looked at it, I noticed it was kind of fear of failure, not because somebody's gonna judge me or I'm gonna judge me, but more of like, I like this story so much, or I like these characters so much, I don't want to draw them ugly. And especially in Connected, the webtoon, I found myself, like, because I'm so attached to this story, I had it since I was like 15 years old or something, and it changed a lot. Certain characters I could not, like, just bring myself to draw them, like, not really good. Like, I had to draw them in a specific way. I would spend so much time on the panel, and even that was better than not drawing them all together. So, again, like, this fear, I found it's because I'm too attached to the story and I'm too attached to these specific characters. While other characters, I was like, I don't give a fuck, you look ugly as shit, but I'm just gonna move on because I gotta get the story over with, because I, myself, like, as Faylen, not as a reader who's gonna judge, as Faylen, I'm just not gonna be satisfied if I keep this in my drafts and never post it. Not because I want people's recognition or approval as much as I genuinely want to get this out. Like, I like it. While with Girly, I found that there was rapid improvement from, like, chapter 2 to 3 to 4 to 5, and then on chapter 6, I was like, it started to fall. A lot of stiffness. This was around the time where I was starting a little bit studying anatomy, like, focusing on, like, how the bodies work, and completely dropped dynamic. I tried to fix it more, but meh. It started getting better. And also, I don't remember exactly what chapter I last posted in Girly, but I have like 10 finished chapters of Girly. So I don't know what I've posted and what I didn't post, but I know for a fact that chapter 6 is posted. That's what I know. I don't know if chapter 7 is posted or not, but it's one of the chapters that I tried to work on better, and some, like, poses gotten better and some poses are still shit, and, backgrounds and stuff. I tried to focus on backgrounds as well, and it was meh. It was getting better, but it was not that better, not that good. Not that better, that's not English, but anyways, I've rambled a lot, but, like, the point is, like, again, back to the whole point of, like, I got so attached to these stories, or, like, these characters in that story, that I couldn't allow myself to experiment, fail, and improve. I was, like, going back to the same mindset of, like, no, I need to study and I'm gonna make it better. I was becoming the artist that I was so pissed at, because, like, how could you not see it? It's just right in front of your eyes, But the thing is, like, people could spend years with that mindset of, like, I'm gonna practice and practice and practice and I'm gonna get better, and then, only then, am I ever allowed to work on this professionally, or post it, or get critiques, or, like, show it to people, or whatever. I got in, like, a little bit step further, and I was like, no, I'm not even gonna make it. That's how bad it was. So I had to genuinely, like, force myself to sit down, and this is when, like, sit down and work on it, like, even paneling. Like, this, I hate paneling so much, but it's necessary, right? And this is when I realized that, hey, it's not the paneling part that you really, really hate. It's more of, like, coming in contact with the reality of, like, although you spent all that much time saying or telling yourself that you will practice to improve, you didn't practice and you didn't improve. And I'm thankful that I didn't, like, become worse because although I didn't study that much, comic-wise and manga-wise, but I can't lie, I made some stuff that I'm really proud of. Like the painting where I was experimenting with, like, a different brush. Like, I used, like, one brush for everything because I was just so over, like, the whole brushes thing. The one that has the skull in the front. In the beginning of this painting, I was just so lost. I didn't even know what I wanted to do. And now, back then I still spotted, like, mistakes, but I forced myself to continue. Again, fail faster to learn faster and improve. And I finished it, and I was like, yeah, that's a lot of improvement in comparison to a person that barely ever drew backgrounds and fully colored them. And then afterwards, I don't remember exactly, like, the chronological order of what I posted. I'm trying to go through them on my Instagram right now. Oh, the one afterwards was, like, my birthday one. It was the beginning of this year. And in this piece, funny enough, I was not actually studying the anatomy, although it looks like I spent the most time on the bodies, but I was actually studying fabric, so what I spent most time on was the couch and his pants. And his pants I'm still proud of, but the couch is ugh. But looking at this, I started to realize, okay, no. Although this is a different style from the one before it like the contact between the characters and the inanimate objects is a little bit better. It's a little bit more distinguished. It's not fully flat, and although it doesn't look like super right or super good, it's something I barely ever made before, if at all. And that in of itself made me realize how hard I was on a lot of like my progress like in the past, because I keep on saying like I'm not an artist, I'm more of a writer, although you can call that an artist in some sort of way, but more of like I don't draw. I only draw because I need to put this in visual format, because I myself cannot handle reading. I kind of hate reading. I love audiobooks, but I can't get like the right voice actors, so the best that I can do is like a comic or a manga, right? Which is what I'm doing. And I realized just how harsh I was on myself in just noticing improvements, because I could notice them in certain things when it comes to bodies or like proportions getting better or worse, but then when it comes to like backgrounds and furniture and like clothing and stuff, I looked at it and I was like, that's not improvement. It's just not working. This is so bad. I need to practice. I need to practice. And I kept on saying this until like I just discouraged myself from ever drawing at all. The things that I'm kind of good at, or the things that I'm not so good at. Like I didn't draw both of them at all. And I kept on using that excuse more and more and more. And it just doesn't work, like, because you'll never improve if you don't actually do the thing. Like, one thing I was like always like relying on when I wasn't drawing is that I observe very well. I analyze almost everything and everyone, so it's easier for me to observe like bodies and proportions, or like, let's say, scales of things like a stand or whatever. And I still didn't, because I found myself, like, now that I did the reverse engineering thing, I found myself completely avoiding looking at things for longer than like 2 seconds, because I didn't want to study them. Like, I didn't want to study how that falls like on the ground, or like how that looks in contact with like this next to it, or how this piece of furniture has the fabric sit on it. I completely got my attention away, just subconsciously, just to not study that, or not even notice it, because whether I wanted it or not, I was studying in a way or another. So I found myself doing this subconsciously, and I had to go back to doing it intentionally. And this is where I realized, no, you did improve. Like, look at the difference. Like, between this and the one with the skull in the front, there is improvement. And yeah, it's a different style and whatever, but I was able to take from this and add to this, like from this style that looks a little bit more realistic in its nature and whatever, and add it to a more refined, clean-ish style, and it kind of still works. Yeah, there are problems with saturation and problems with like how this contacts with like the body and stuff, but still, it's an improvement. In comparison to other things I made in the past, there's not a single bit that I can compare it with, because it's so much better. Even if it's not like the best, I still spot mistakes. But again, how much did I improve if we compare this to something that I made in like 2019 or something? And yeah, the thought of like how much I could have improved if I was drawing regularly and I didn't take breaks, it still comes up. But at the same time, like, I always like just counter it with, okay, but if you kept on thinking that way, you're just gonna go back to how you were, and you're not gonna make any improvement at all. Like, at all. So, which do you want? Do you want this or do you want that? So, again, like, another comparison that I wanted to make, because I wasn't completely, like, just dead in this creative slumber. I was making some stuff, and this is what made me, like, realize, yeah, there is improvement, but you need to genuinely, like, force yourself to sit the fuck down and do the thing, mess up, and find that you messed up, and figure out how to fix it, or not fix it, and work on it on the next piece. But afterwards I realized, like, the difference between, like, let's say this piece, like, the piece like right the day afterwards, that's not English anyways, the day right afterwards, which is like the birthday piece, and comparing this to the identity shift piece, which is like her holding a doll of herself, as in like a voodoo doll, like killing her old identity. Anyways, a lot of explanation. But like I compared this to how like she's interacting with the doll or like holding it, and how right or wrong it looks, but also comparing this to the background, which like how well does it work or not work. And to be honest, I see improvement. Like, sure, the lighting situation is much different. The hand movement thing was like, that was the first time I ever did it, but it was improvement. And then I compared this with the one that I did afterwards in like June. Yeah, that's so far apart, but still. And one could argue that the stage scene, it's not really fair to compare to these other two. It's a little bit like far away from the viewer. You can't really spot things. But like if we're gonna name a mistake, or quote unquote mistake, or something that doesn't work, like I see the drum set doesn't really work and feel like it's in the same style as the drummer in comparison to the speaker on the right side. It looks like it's a proper style. It kind of fits. And the thing is, these tiny like things that I'm noticing, they are things that really, really like could change a piece entirely. They could make everything fall flat for at least what I see in my own art. They can make everything fall flat or give it a little bit of like union, which is a big problem with me, and why I wasn't avoiding backgrounds, but I was always spotting like horrible mistakes when I was doing them in the manga or the comic. I was like, okay, that does not work. It does not fit. It just doesn't. And noticing these like tiny improvements, yeah, I guess they're tiny. Anyways, these improvements made me realize, like even in this creative somber time, there was some improvement. And although like my brain was forcing itself to not notice and not learn because it doesn't want to deal with it, me taking initiative and actually going back and forcing myself to do this again, it didn't tire me as much as I thought it would. It didn't take as much effort. Like the whole like just do it or just start, unironically, it's a really good advice for a situation like this, because when you realize that your fear is based on like you don't want to make this like worse than you want it to be, you have to realize that, okay, I have a big vision. For me to get to it, I either take small steps or large steps, but like steps at all. And I'm not allowed to really just sit there for like weeks, years, however long it takes, and expect myself to get there out of nowhere and then blame myself that I didn't, because it just doesn't work like that. I kept on blaming myself for things like this and just didn't take any steps. And now that I did, it does pay off. Like even if you didn't finish a chapter, you didn't finish this, but like you did like some sort of improvement on these things that you just hated. So it's better to like take a step at all. I feel like I'm all over the place. It's a rambly video. I know, it's been a while. Even the drawing in the background, it's like from 18th of November 2023, so it's almost like 6 to 7 months. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care for it being rambly, because this is another thing. I was not posting on YouTube because all of the videos that I had as speed paints and like ready to post, I just found like I gotten so much better than this, or like even a little bit better than this. I absolutely hate this. I don't want to post this and stuff. And then you come to a point, it's like, okay, as soon as you finish this, as soon as you finish recording this, if you stay for like 7 months before posting another video, of course you're not gonna like it. Of course, like surprise, like there is nothing to be surprised about. It's just expected. So this is just a thing that I just had to push myself to do, because if I didn't, I would just go to the dead for like another 6 to 7 months. So like throwing something in there just always gets me back in the state of like, okay, I am an artist now. I do my own things now. I can't just fully ignore them and expect them to do themselves on their own. Like this is not something that could just happen on its own, or at least I don't think so. So yeah, at least doing like one thing or like one page every week is much better than not doing anything at all. And when I sat myself down and did it, it wasn't a whole week. It's like more like 6-7 pages in like one day. So yeah, consistency is something that I'm gonna work on, but still, I'm finally back from this creative slumber, so I'm hoping it works well this time. And if it doesn't, I'm still gonna force myself to continue because I'm that bratty, I guess. I don't know. So yeah, don't depend on motivation. Just sit yourself the fuck down and do it. I guess that's that's the advice that I'm gonna give to the public. I don't know. Do with that what you will. I hope that's not harmful. Please don't use it in a harmful manner. Don't stress yourself. Don't finish a whole chapter in one sitting or one day. Please don't do that. That's not my advice. What I mean is just like don't disappear from whatever craft you're working on for like a month and then be sad and mad that nothing got done magically on its own. Like, don't be so harsh on yourself, but also know when to discipline yourself. Don't be like me, but also be like me, I guess. Like, again, take of that what you will. And just, I don't know, enjoy. And I'm gonna set you free now. So, bye-bye.